This is a little piece I want to do about Module K4, getting to know the people. And if you hear me shivering, it's because my apartment is freezing. I'm actually trying a new way of losing fat, and that's staying cold. Because according to Tim Ferriss of the 4-Hour Work Week, being cold burns more fat. I don't know the principles behind it, but if you try and stay cold, like going out into the cold, running in the cold, taking ice baths, etc., supposedly it burns more fat. So, I'll eat chips in my cold apartment, and hopefully I'll stay lean. Anyway, this little piece, like I said, about getting to know the people, is called Avoiding the Crowd. And the principle is simple. Wherever there are crowds of actors, you should be going in the opposite direction. And there are a few exceptions to that. There are educational series, obviously, where you may run into crowds of actors, and if you attend screenings and there are the actors from the play, but from the movies at the screenings, sure, those are fine. I mean, you don't have to avoid actors at all costs. But in terms of trying to meet people, trying to network, meet industry people for your contact list, I highly recommend avoiding areas that are designed for actors to congregate and meet industry people. And I would say that, again, like most of my stuff, it's kind of a universal principle. If you go to something that's designed for a bunch of unemployed people to get employed, the competition for the attention of people that might be able to employ you is extremely high. So you need to just think about where these people are congregating when they're not at actor functions. Okay, so there are groups out there. I don't know if it's still running. There used to be a thing called the Hollywood Happy Hour that was put together by indie casting director Bonnie Gillespie, and you'll see her name a lot, especially based in LA. She writes a ton of stuff about actors and what they can do for their careers. Some of it I agree with, some of it I don't, but she's very diligent, okay? Much more diligent than I am. Like, she really keeps track of things. Frankly, I think a lot of the stuff she keeps track of is a waste of time. But anyway, needless to say, she and some other people used to run something called Hollywood Happy Hour. Not sure if it's still there. And to me, that was the last place on earth I would want to go. Not only because, to me, there's nothing worse than going and hanging out with like a few hundred unemployed actors, because frankly, if you were employed, you probably wouldn't be going to a Hollywood acting networking event. So, of course, the conversation can range from, people bragging about their latest credits to people complaining about how nothing is fair and, that they don't get any breaks. So, rather than going to events like that, and again, if you want to go to events like that, feel free. I'm not telling you shouldn't. I'm just telling you, here are some ideas for things that I believe might be more productive and get your career going in the right direction. So just think about these people. Where do producers, where do casting directors, where do directors, where do these people end up? Okay? Where do they spend their time? And if you can answer that question, then you can probably end up meeting these people on their own terms rather than some fabricated event that is designed basically for people. It's more like a job fair, really, is what those things are like. A job fair with very few employers. So you need to figure out where these people might be. Like if you're a producer and you work at Universal Studios, well, maybe you go out for lunch or maybe you go out for dinner at restaurants near the studio. So maybe as an actor, you want to once in a while show up at these places for lunch, for dinner, what have you, and just be friendly to people and try and stand out and if you have an opportunity, just introduce yourself to people and seriously base it on how they look. I mean, if you see somebody and they look like they might be a creative type and you have an opportunity, maybe they're sitting at the bar or what have you, then just say, make a comment like, yeah, well, they got a really nice set of new TVs here, huh? Huh. Or, how do you like the Dodgers this year? Whatever. And just introduce yourself. Hey, David, what's your name? Oh, I'm so-and-so. Oh, really? What do you do? I'm a producer over at Universal. Oh, cool. Well, what do you do? Well, I'm an actor and, blah, blah, blah. That's it. And, you make connections that way. And, if you find out that they are somebody like that, a producer, don't go all cuckoo and gaga over them. Just have a normal conversation. Like, talk about where the person's from and what their interests are, and just send out some feelers. It's really not that hard. So you sports fan, I mean, you can usually just tell by how, you can usually find keys off of how someone looks at what they might be interested in, like the style of clothing they wear, what they're paying attention to in the bar. They might be looking at the television. They might be reading a book. They might be on their laptop. Whatever it is, try and join in, participate. Oh, what, are you writing something? Oh, yeah, I'm writing a screenplay. It's been going on for years. Oh, really? How is that? Because I've always thought about maybe writing myself, but, haven't got around to it. Oh, blah, blah, blah. I've been doing this since I was a kid, or I went to college for it, or whatever. Just make connections, guys. It's really not that hard. You don't need to go to fabricated events. The only reason those fabricated events exist is because most actors and most people in general are terrified to actually speak to people. And I generally don't like going to bars and making small talk with people. But if I am somewhere and I see someone, I'll say hello. I'll just, drop a few lines and see what happens. And if somebody's a jerk, that's fine. Let them be a jerk. It doesn't matter. But, you just throw it out there and see what comes back. Because if you just work on being a good person yourself, then you don't have anything to worry about. Because even people that act like jerks, they're probably not jerks deep down inside. They're probably just putting on a show for you. And in particular, in Los Angeles, people love to put on shows because so many people have done it to them. Then they start to do it to other people because they think they have to. And it's kind of a vicious cycle. So break the cycle and be the nice guy in the room. Be friendly, be generous, be open. And if they want to be jaded and they want to, whatever, take advantage of your kindness, well, they know that's not the right thing to do. And generally speaking, most people will help you out if you offer to help them out. So there it is, guys. It's avoid crowds and look for connections near where these people might live and work. And it's pretty easy to figure out where they work. The addresses of almost all of the production companies in the world are on IMDb Pro. So, wherever you live, go hang out nearby some of these places and see if you can't stumble upon some industry folks. What's even better? Like, rather than meeting a producer, maybe you'll meet an accountant for a production company. And not that many people, get excited about accountants. So if you can show a little interest when someone says, well, I'm nobody. I'm just the accountant, or I'm the bookkeeper, or whatever. And you take an interest in that person, they're going to latch on to you. They're going to be like, wow, somebody's actually generous and kind and taking an interest, not just, go, oh, well, could you introduce me to a producer? If you just take an interest and show that you think everyone's important, then they will respond to you. And then when the time comes, they'll be like, well, you're an actor, aren't you? And you're like, yeah. Well, why don't I introduce you to so-and-so? He's right over here. Oh, yeah, okay. Hi, how are you? Oh, yeah, well, so you're an actor. Yeah, oh, what have you done? And, you know, if you haven't done anything, then you probably don't need to be meeting these producers. So, again, do it at the right time. Don't get ahead of yourself. There's no point in trying to network with Steven Spielberg when you either can't act because you haven't really gotten your craft to that level, or you don't have anything to show that you're a professional. And that doesn't mean that someone who hasn't got a huge resume can't get acting jobs, but it means that someone who hasn't done anything, especially an adult, if you haven't done anything, you don't have any professional credits to your resume, and you go out trying to get, you know, connections with Steven Spielberg, it shows that you are still an amateur, because people who are amateurs shouldn't be approaching professionals and asking them for favors and handouts. Okay? Pay your dues. So when you're a professional, then you can deal with professionals. But while you're an amateur and still learning, then know that about yourself, and don't make sort of outlandish requests, you know, expecting things to suddenly miraculously happen. Even if they do happen miraculously, that shouldn't be the way you approach it. I mean, it is possible that somebody says, oh, you've got a great look for this project. Would you like to do it? Be very careful, okay, with how you do that. Just be clear and be honest and say, well, I don't have a lot of experience. I would love the opportunity, but I want to make sure you know that this is who I am. Just like if you met somebody who said they were in medical school and you said, oh, would you come and see my sick mother? You know, I don't care how much you know. And if they were just still in medical school, they'd be like, well, you know, I can take a look, but just so you know, I'm, you know, only in first year, so I can't really do anything professionally about it. I can maybe, you know, listen to her heart or listen to her lungs or something like that, and then we could get her professional help. So guys, you know, be cautious and be professional is what it's all about, and I think you know what I mean. So basically, I think that's the end of the tip. So yeah, avoid crowds and look for contacts where they live and where they work, and you're sure to make some really solid connections that way. And you don't need to meet a lot of these people. Okay, just meet a couple of them and try and work on those relationships, because these people know other people, and by knowing one person and making a really good connection with them, you also are going to have access to all of their contacts as well. So you may only need to meet one person, and that could change your life. You know, I met two, and they changed my life, and I don't even have really good relationships with them. I mean, I'm not even that great of a networker. I don't even live in the same city as them right now. But it did change my life because it led to so many different things happening. And I just made the most of these things when they happened. So there it is, guys. You know, try and apply these strategies and let me know how it all works for you. And we'll see you guys in the discussion room.